Ahmed Tempak, because the first episode of violence that took place on the weekend actually seemed to target members of your community, or at least areas that are dominated by members of your community. And the violence may be much worse than we know the casualty figure, because there are several who have been critically injured as well. What is happening? Why has an area that is dominated by Manipuri Muslims been targeted in this way, according to you, Ahmed?
Thank you so much for having me, Barkha, first of all. And uh, the issue which you mentioned right now is really, really horrified for all of us, especially with Meitei Pangal community in Manipur. Yesterday, we all, India and all over the world, celebrated New Year, but unfortunately in Manipur, that is not happening. However, at the night at around 7 p.m., one person called Hassan, that is located, that Lilong is one of the largest Meitei Pangal population in the state. That is under the Thoubal district and under the Lilong police station, where some armed miscreant. But today they clarified, they released just before joining to your this discussion. They released a PR press release on that particular situation. That
Yeah.
is the responsible militant group is RPF,
I see.
and the person who, okay, the person who like mentioned that visited, or they came to that residence is what to say, involved in war on drugs or drugs mafias and other things, and that's why they warned before, but unfortunately they are not able to take them in their custody. That's why they came last night to like what to say,
But
pick him, pick.
why do you think, and I've just got hold of the Revolutionary People's Front press release that you mentioned being responsible for the attack on members of your community or neighborhoods dominated by your community. I want to be careful with my words. Why do you think that your area, or an area where your community lives, has been targeted? Why? You have stayed out, you
That
have tried
is the
so
main.
hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
We do definitely agree. There would be any some what to say, drug dealers, drug peddlers, or some smugglers. We do not deny on that particular area.
Yeah.
However, the act which was really happened last night is really unfortunate. The person, four-person kill, was really, really innocent, and they are daily wage laborers, and two of them came back from some work for their like day off, and unfortunately they died because of their gunfire. So if they are really responsible group, if they are really responsible person, or they are really concerned about the mission when it comes to drug, then we have UMPC, United Meitei Pangal Committee Manipur. I
Yes.
myself is speaking on behalf of entire Meitei Pangal, and the other local leaders, elected members. They can really inform the person and ask them to like hand over the person or whomsoever is involved. But unfortunately, that is not happening. They forcefully enter the house and ransack like anything and kill a person very mercilessly, heartlessly. That is a really concern for all of us.
Right. So you're
And
saying
so far, we have four of them are killed, and 14 is confirmed. And
so four.
fortunately, last night it was,
Hang on, sir. I'm
yeah,
trying to ask a question. So four people in your
yeah,
community have been killed, and 14 have been
yes,
injured, several of them critically, so that casualty figure could go up. And
yes.
basically, you're saying that many of those who've been killed are laborers, are poor people, and you do not know why they've been targeted. Can we please play the pictures so that we see the kind of tension in the Lilong area? Requesting my producers to please play those pictures. And then, of course, in retaliation, members of the community hit back at the gunmen. and burnt their vehicles. Now, Major Ali, what is really worrying is that these gunmen, these men who came with guns, they were camouflaging themselves with police uniforms, right? So go ahead and tell us not just about what's happened with the Pangal community, Meitei Pangal community, but also what's happened in Moreh today. Dr. Ali.
Okay, Barkha, firstly, thank you very much for inviting me on your show. You're one of my favorites, and you know that very well. It's an honor to be here with the panel of such esteemed guests. And as you mentioned about my former commandant from the Assam Rifles, Brigadier Kautam Ganguly. I hope his internet connection
Yes.
comes up very soon, and I hope he does join us. Now, the very fact is, Barkha, the army and the Assam Rifles, the security forces are actually doing a very impartial and a very good job. I would particularly vouch for the army and the Assam Rifles. Now, the very fact, because the vigil is so sharp, so people over there, the troublemakers, the insurgents, the I would call even people who are not part of the underground factions who have picked up arms right now today, even they are insurgents. So these insurgents have no other way to break into the security but to disguise themselves up in the security forces uniforms, police uniforms. I'm told they were using police vehicles as well, some of them, not here, but other cases, they have been roaming around and some of them apparently have been roaming around freely. I'm surprised because they camouflage themselves, they hide themselves behind the uniforms where you are mistaken. People had even tried to get Assam Rifles vehicles. Can you beat that? But they were caught. So that is an option left for them. I will equate it with an example where a lot of terrorists from Pakistan are unable to infiltrate, so they're using narco terrorism. They drop in weapons and drugs across. Similarly, the insurgents in Manipur, now they have adopted those methods because it's very difficult to check exactly. Not very difficult, but it is actually you assume a person. If I have to be victimized, if I see somebody walking in police uniform, I will probably presume he's a protector, not come to attack me. So that's what's happening now. Now the very fact is a communal clash, or rather I would say an ethnic clash. Rather, the word is ethnic clash, not a communal clash, but an ethnic clash is not very, it happened in past in Manipur, all right, but not of this severity. In 93, there was a very infamous Meitei Pangal clash. That's the Meitei Hindus. Even Pangals are the Meitei Muslims, so they are also they're Pangals. They was in 93 that happened. 94 there was a very infamous Nagas and Cookies clash. In 97 there was a Cookies clash. In fact, Manipur has seen a Pangal chief minister as well. In 1972 there was Muhammad Ali Muddin as the chief minister. Manipur has very gracefully accepted that. Now the very fact, you see, Moreh is a belt which is predominated by cookies. And particularly, I have a lot of Thoubal speaking cookies. They would be having surnames like Hawkins, Kipgins, or Khongsais. So Moreh is particularly dominated by cookies. And it's very close to Technopal, and it's on the border of where across the border in the Moreh, there's Tamu in that side. Yes.
Can I just interrupt you to say that I think we must separate these two incidents, right? One is an incident that has taken place in a border town where there is a foreign link being alleged by the chief minister. The other is an incident that is basically taking place within the communities, in a community that has not been targeted thus far, Major Ali. So I don't know that we can talk about these incidents together.
Of course not. You cannot talk about these two incidents together. But since you had asked initially about Moreh, along with your first question, that's why I brought in Moreh over here. Now, the very fact is, when we talk about there was an attack on the Pangal community, let me tell you, let me see how I see it as. I see it as not an attack only on Pangal community. I don't know how the Pangal community would be seeing it as. I mean, in fact, the spokesperson over here, Rais Ahmed Bhai, would be in a better position to tell. I see it as an incident where, yes, no doubt, the members who were attacked happened to be from the Pangal community. And yes, unfortunately, we lost 4 of them. And as Rais Bhai said, 14 have been grievously injured. So it could, and if at all there is an allegation of drugs or narcotics, I don't know the intricacies of that, because as per the UN records, Manipur gets about 70,000 crores is only on narcotics, which is much more than the GDP of Manipur, in fact. So I don't know about the drug angle of it. Even if it is for the drug angle, I do not think anybody who should have the right to take law in their hands and say, okay, you are into drugs, let me come and kill you and shoot you. No, the law
Absolutely.
has to take its own course. The law
Yeah.
decides that. So
Yeah.
similarly, now I say it is, I really urge my brethren in Manipur not to make it so far what I had heard of the Chief of Defence Staff, General Anil Chauhan, and the DG Assam Rifles, Lieutenant Pradeep Nair, speak about that. It's an ethnic clash, it's an ethnic problem that's going on in Manipur. So I would urge people not to make it, I know it is very, very tough, easier said than done, but not to make it communal. I mean, not to make it Hindus versus Christians or Hindus versus Muslim. It is a nefarious group which has gone, I would say it's gone bonkers, right? I would use the word that way. And they have gone and attacked these
Okay.
people.
Okay, let me
Yes.
bring in Professor Haukip and then we'll come back to Rais Ahmed Bhai. Professor Haukip, how do you see what's happening? I mean, we also have to put this into context to say that it has now been, we're in the 8th month, it's been more than 7 months. I'm not saying that every day there is violence, but there are, phases of tenuous peace. And then you have outbursts of what we've seen in the last 2 days. As I said, the new year is very much like the old year for people of Manipur. How do you, and even Rais Ahmed opened with that all of India had a new year but Manipur. Go ahead, Professor Hauke.
Yeah, I would take this, two issues, two incidents today, one in More and another in, yesterday in Imphal, together, because it has to be looked together, because, in Imphal, the Manipur police is unable to handle a certain situation. On the other hand, if you look into More, the state police is stretching out its arms to control the border town. So
Hmm.
taking these two together, on the one hand, you are unable to control, the radical groups in Imphal, including the insurgent groups in the Imphal Valley, while
Yeah.
in More, where it was assured that the central forces would take care of this border town, you still try to assert your dominance there. This is the issue on today as well as yesterday. So let me remind everybody by looking back into the peak of Manipur violence on 26 June 2023. After meeting with Amit Shah, the Home Minister of India, uh, Biren Singh had a press conference stating that the center will take care of the hills while he will be responsible for the valley. So the law and order situation in Imphal Valley has to be controlled by the state forces, while the central paramilitary forces and other forces will control the hill areas. That was the agreed principle on which law and order has to be maintained in Manipur. But on the other
Hmm.
hand, if you look into the current situation, the state government, the state forces are trying to, control the border town More. On the other hand, they are unable to do anything to the insurgent groups and as well as the radical groups like Arambai Tingol and Meitei who are carrying the RPGs, automatic rifles,
Yeah.
roaming around in tens of, cars and other vehicles all around Imphal Valley. So what we take as a position is that in order to maintain peace in Manipur, the valley people should not cross the buffer zone and roam around in the hills, and even the hill peoples, especially the
Okay.
Kukis,
So you are
should not
saying, so
halt
you are
into the
you
valley area.
so you are so you are saying that there should have been more law and order control, at least in the valley, where this attack has taken place on the Meitei Pangal
De-
community. Yes, I want to bring up
Definitely.
Arambai Tengol. The name is coming up again and again by the cookie groups, Major Ali. The Arambai Tengol was blamed. The tribal groups are blaming the Arambai Tengol both for what has happened with the Meitei Pangal attack as well as for what happened in More. But the chief minister is saying that this is a militant attack with a link across the border, possibly in Myanmar. Right? These are two completely different narratives, Major Ali. What is the Arambai Tengol? A lot of people outside of Manipur don't know. And why are we hearing its name? Also, Rais Ahmed says that while the Arambai Tengol was being blamed, the RPF now has issued a statement claiming responsibility for what happened in his community. So, talk a bit about both of these groups.
Okay, Megha, that's a very, very interesting question. The very fact is, Arambai Tengol and Meitei Lipun, as far as my knowledge goes, they were social groups they are social bodies. That's what I know of. And now
Would you
the
still
very
would you
fact is,
still call
you are
them a
right.
would you still call them that? Today,
No,
everybody in Manipur has
correct,
guns.
correct. So I am
Both
just coming to that. And
communities. Right.
their name has been cropping up again and again, especially by my cookie friends, and so there's no smoke without fire. So I this is a thing which is to be actually inquired and actually proved, and it has to be proved in a very impartial manner without taking any sides, without taking anyone. So now I would say the very fact is, if you ask me if I would still call them social groups, well, as you say, even a thief is not a thief until proven guilty, for that matter. So it is a matter subject to inquiry in the first place. Secondly, when you talk about underground groups or factions, in my time when I was posted there with the army as the ADC or with the Assam Rifles both, so I had the good fortune of experiencing both the life. So the underground groups were primarily the one which has signed a truce right now, the UNLF, United Nations Liberation Front, the PLA, People Liberation Army, the KYKL, Kangla Yaman Kanalup, the Pre-Pak. There was a group dominated by the Pangals called Pulse, People's United Liberation Front. And I'm in Kakshin, where I spent a lot of time, in fact, in Thoubal, where the attack took place. There's the Sora Basti, which Rais Bhai would be knowing very well about. I have spent a lot of time in Sora Basti, but it was a very small group of, I would call them rather, local bandits at that time. So I don't know what became of that group thereafter. I don't know. They probably, I don't know. It became very irrelevant, or perhaps after that. So the very fact is, Arambai Tangol and Meitei Lipun were not a banned outfit. As far as I know, till now, they have not been banned. So if they have not been banned, the law authorities, the government has to actually see and inquire why their names have been coming up again and again.
Okay, and what about this RPF? I want to bring in Rais Ahmed at this point. Rais Ahmed, I am looking at the press release, but unfortunately, it is not in English. So I am not able to understand what it's saying. I'm sure you have it in front of you. I do have it on my phone here, but it's been released, interestingly, by the ITLF, by the tribal groups, saying that the RPF has claimed responsibility for what has happened in the areas dominated by your community. Can you share with us what is this RPF for audiences who do not know, and why they might be targeting members of your community?
Barkha, before I intervene your question, first I need to clarify, yesterday's incident can be considered as communal violence, because Major Ali
can or can't?
Can't cannot be considered, cannot be considered as communal violence, because maximum, I think almost all the CSOs, MLAs, even the Honorable Chief Minister of Manipur came out and at least release a video to calm down the situation. And even I think a few minutes back, Honorable Chief Minister visited the victim's family and also the hospital.
Okay. So, images are on our screen. Yes.
No, this is the hospital images, but he actually visited along with the local MLA, Honorable Alhaj Abdul Nasir, that local Lilong MLA, and along with his cabinet ministers and colleagues, visited the victim families. So that shows that is not a completely a violence, incident. That was.
It's not. It is violence. There are, but it is not communal. It is not spurred religion.
It is not a communal violence. Yeah, it is kind of like targeted. Okay,
what is the reason that your community?
As far as the RPF, as far as the RPF, Revolutionary People's Front, that is, I can say, the political wing of PLA, I can say, and they are releasing based on their local our local language. They are saying the person called Hassan is involved in drug dealer since long time, and they gave several times of warning and not able to nab in their hand. So they forcefully came and tried to grab the situation, but unfortunately like local peoples came together and they try to forcefully and like their vehicles burn down. That's why they try to escape from the situation. They gunfire and they really they also like kind of like saying they're really sorry about the incident. And the second thing,
Can I
they,
ask you something?
the second thing,
Hold on. I'm getting confused. It's not religious. It's not communal. You have not been, your community, your people, your neighborhoods have not been targeted because of their religion. I understand that. You are saying that you think there's a drug link of some kind? What are you saying?
okay. As far as today, we had a very brief and very detailed discussion, and we formed a joint action committee against the mass killing and brutal act of Lilong Qingjao, that we have discussed about, and we have briefed, and we got to know that their family is like rejecting all claims of drug dealers and drug peddlers, like linking with drugs. That is completely denying by the family of MD Hassan, number one. Number two, and the neighbors which really victim because of that incident last night is really unfortunate. And the RPF that itself, that PR itself is saying they will investigate the matter in details and let you know later, kind of like press release. So I hope your question is answered.
Somewhat.